Salutations, kindred souls. Welcome to another episode of Lux Martin Integration. I'm Lux, and on this channel we talk about all things healing, wisdom, and integration. And today is going to be a juicy one that comes from personal relevance to what I'm going through in my life right now, which is about the difference between settling and trusting, or the season between boundaries and surrender. It's absolutely something that I don't think is talked about enough on a spiritual or divine feminine journey, and it's a very delicate, but in my opinion, advanced season of self development or of a divine feminine journey that I would love to dive into further as I see myself exploring it in real time. And so today I just want to share it with you. I have lots of notes, so if you see me eyeballs down a lot, it's just because I'm referencing these juicy points that I would like to come with you today and share with you. So, very recently, like even just this week, I've come to a realization that I think has saved me several years of confusion or several opportunities to make a less than optimal choice. There comes a point in the divine feminine journey where your external life can still look messy. Relationships aren't really lined up the way you would hope they would. Maybe your career isn't like in its epitome of excellence. Finances aren't great. Maybe they're okay, but they're not perfect. You're not spilling with abundance. People may still misunderstand you, or they don't understand why you're making the choices you're doing. But so from the outside, it can absolutely look like you're settling, or you're ignorant, or you're tolerating toxicity. And that is exactly why in this season, it is very common for a person to let there be a lot of space in some of their relationships, because I absolutely don't agree with having to justify your decisions to others, because it can create a wobble. It can create a wobble in your energy of why you've made the choice and your steadfastness in that choice. So I'll say, from my experience, that letting spaciousness happen in this season is not only beneficial, but probably necessary for your own peace. But what I'm saying is that from the outside, the world can think that you're settling, you're being ignorant, you're tolerating toxicity, you're living a pipe dream. Like what you're thinking should happen obviously isn't what's happening. So what are you going to do about it? But internally, something very different is happening. At this point in my life, I'm no longer reacting and panicking. It still takes coaching, it still takes work to coach this body on how to do that. But I'm not trying to force or push the universe and my external reality to move faster than it's going to. As much as I see other people talk about instant or very quick manifestation, I don't believe that's a pinnacle of my journey. I don't believe that's a chapter of my journey, at least not right now, because one of the lessons for me is to stand steadfast and do the being. Let the being do the aligning instead of the doing and pushing for faster results. And it's just not what I'm being called to learn in this lifetime. So if that resonates with you, great, pursue those kinds of sources of information. But for me, this human carcass has been having to slow roll it slower than she would like it to. But anyways, what we're going to move on from is understanding why this season can look like settling when it's actually a really beautiful, potent, powerful season of stabilizing sovereignty. And it's really juicy and it's really delicate. And again, I don't think it's talked enough about at all in regards to like spiritual development or specifically a divine feminine journey. So I want to start with the first part, which is why this season looks so confusing. And I'll try to give you some examples in my real life. Our older versions of us, our nervous system learned that if something feels uncomfortable, that means you need to change it. What my body and my heart learned, what my ego learned, is that if I see this trigger, this pain, this point, this problem, and I don't change it, that means I'm not choosing me. That means I'm not doing something about it, that I truly am settling, and I'm not worthy of better. And so that was a very true and powerful season of my life of like, I needed to make those hard choices because it was teaching me a new version of me that is more worthy, more deserving, more lovable, more loving, more sovereign. And so, yes, there is that where you had to go through that part of teaching your mind, body, spirit of like, you do have to make the changes to show yourself that you're choosing yourself, that you're worthy of changes, of better. And the difference between that and now, that version of me and now, is that a healed system has to learn, a healed nervous system has to learn that not every discomfort requires action. Older versions had to learn that action is required to choose you, choose worthiness and sovereignty. This version of my nervous system has to learn that discomfort doesn't always require action. It just requires deeper roots, deeper stability, deeper sovereignty, deeper trust, both in myself and God, the universe, whatever it is you'd like to call it. My old self used to believe that if I don't control this, if I don't make a change, if I don't hold the boundary, if I don't stick to my guns, this will fall apart or it will not go the way worthiness to me should look like. Um, a more integrated version of me, this now present version of me, believes that I don't have to force what is already becoming. And this is based on a fundamental belief system that I've chosen to build and operate in. That is, I am inevitable. And therefore, all things that are for me are inevitable, which means there is nothing to force. It is my being, not my doing, that results in inevitability. And that's a really, really juicy, mature season of a divine feminine journey, is that the being is what causes change. The doing is, I don't want to say lower level, but it's more masculine. It's when you're overcompensating with a masculine dynamic energetically rather than feminine magnetism. It's where I don't have to force, because I truly believe from the bottom of my heart that I and everything that is for me in this lifetime is inevitable and I will reach it. And a nicer way of reaching it is by relaxing and receiving and being and standing in me instead of reaching, clawing, doing, forcing, manipulating. And so this looks very confusing because, so I said I would give you some real life examples. In my life, this looks like a troublesome relationship that looks like it's not going to work out, that looks like I'm tolerating less than what I deserve because I am standing in the energetic knowing of what I deserve and my sovereignty as a divine partner, as a divine feminine. And it doesn't look like this person is catching up with me or is ready to meet me at that level, but I'm still here. We're still with it. We're still in it. We're still in it, like a negotiation or a void kind of process. You can almost argue that it's a bit of an energetic separation because we're not close enough on wavelengths for that to be like a healthy, peaceful kind of dynamic right now, and thus space to let that stand, because I don't need to pack all my stuff up and move out. I don't need to move across the country. I don't need to change jobs because my job is making me more money and I'm working a lot, or I'm not settling into a lifestyle that feels like abundance and expansion to me. Or I'm making great money and I'm paying down bills and I'm doing things, but bank account still looks like an empty pot. You know what I mean? Like examples of things are making progress, but to someone else, maybe to a friend or a family member, I might look like I'm tolerating a toxic relationship that isn't going to go anywhere. Or I might look like I still don't understand work-life balance. Or it might look like I still don't have my finances under control. It very much looks like that from the outside. And so in my effort to protect my own peace, I have not bothered to explain that to anybody because I don't care to use that conversation as an opportunity to energetically wobble in what I know I'm building. And I've accepted that what I'm building is going to take a little longer than I'd like it to, or than what my 3D reality is showing you right now. And that gets to be okay. This is the confusing part of, like, do I look like I'm just being ignorant, or am I actually doing deeper work inside while everything else looks nothing of the sort? And so now we're going to move into this trap that can happen, or this like bouncing off the guardrails, and I've seen me do this before too, which is the trap of hyper boundaries or hypersensitivity to discernment, to triggers, to problems, for lack of a better word. And this is the thing that I don't hear discussed enough, or the thing we're not having enough conversations about in the spiritual community, which is that sometimes healing in itself becomes a trauma response. Isn't that wild how when you start to realize like how potent and how good it feels to do the healing work and start to see results in your life, you become extra sensitive. Like I absolutely have become a ultra sensitive person. I used to think I was sensitive. Holy moly, I am sensitive on a whole new level. Um, and it's a love-hate relationship at the moment because I can tell that it's a very mature type of sensitivity, and it still drives me up the freaking wall. It still is very challenging to navigate. The feels are still really big feels, and I feel them at a hair triggers difference in energetics, like between myself and my divine counterpart, or between myself and a family member, or even a coworker. Like that energetic shift when things are fluctuating is so obvious to me, so obvious. And it makes it difficult to continue to teach this human carcass, like, whew, chill out. We don't need to do anything just because to you it feels like a magnitude 10, but it's actually a magnitude 1. That is a very interesting development on the divine feminine journey, is that your sensitivity intuitively and energetically makes most things feel like a high magnitude earthquake when in actuality they're this big of a problem. But because of your becoming more in tune, it becomes extra sensitive, it becomes extra aware. Anywho, moving forward, the point is that as you heal, that's a natural byproduct of healing, is more discernment and more sensitivity. And in our healing, in our knowing what we should do to choose ourselves, to make a change, to support our worthiness and sovereignty, that can become a trigger response or a trauma response of, I have to make a new decision. I have to heal. I have to make boundaries. I have to do the things in order to choose me. For example, a perfectly great real life example, I've seen me do it, is after years of people pleasing and chameleoning, not really having my own sense of self, not to survive. I mean, like baseline level, yes, to survive, but to thrive and to navigate, that is our 3D adult life existence growing up. I discovered boundaries and what is me and what is not me and what is in my energetic frame and what isn't. Those are wonderful. It's a necessary process. It's life changing. And then eventually, maybe you or yourself, or someone starts to take that to the not so healthy end of the spectrum, where people start cutting everyone off. They leave every job, they end every friendship, they walk away from every uncomfortable conversation and call it misalignment. That's not misalignment, that's hypersensitivity, and that's turning healing and sensitivity into a trigger response. Sometimes that's fear wearing spirituality in the mask of spirituality and healing. And that's quite a disservice we can do to ourselves, because again, not every uncomfortable conversation needs to be thrown our hands up and walk away from, like, I don't deserve this, I deserve better, or I'm not going to be available for this, I'm not available for that type of relationship, I'm not available for this level of income, when in actuality you're just shooting yourself in the foot. And like I said, I've seen me do that, where I've made a decision that may have been on the over harsh or over sensitive hyper boundary side, when in actuality I caused myself probably a little more grief than I needed to. Maybe in hindsight there could have been a decision that could have been a half a step more milder, that saved me time, saved me money, saved me heartache. um in the taking time to not hyper react to a discernment or to an awareness that I've come about with, whether it's in a relationship or my job or abundance or um healing old wound, like healing inner child wound, things like that. So I will say that that is a trap, for lack of a better word, that we can fall into, of like treating every problem like a hypersensitivity need to solve, because you have chosen to be about yourself, be about your healing, be about your sovereignty. This is where we start to step into this new level of discernment and a mature testing and advancement of the divine feminine. And so if you manage to move through that season and get through the hyper boundaries of, like, no, I don't need to block this friend, I don't need to never go to Thanksgiving because of this family member, like, tone it down, tone it down. We get to this part where peace feels suspicious. And that is absolutely where I've been for several weeks now, several weeks, in choosing me, even when my external world can feel very uncertain or very hostile. This is huge. This is a huge step in my development right now, and I would love to talk about it if anybody else wants to like dive in there or have someone to process out loud with, because this is huge for me. I feel like I'm hitting a new level personally, and it's delicious, And I hope that I get to help somebody else discover and navigate that. But anywho, when you've spent years surviving or reacting, peace feels irresponsible. You're almost wonder like, shouldn't I be doing something, or should I initiate this conversation, or should I brace myself for impact? Again, this is a really potent season of I've been teaching my human carcass to chill out, understand that it feels the red flags, it notices that this don't look right, with vulnerability, and go, yes, I don't like this, I am uncomfortable in this, and I'm not being passive. Peace is not passive, it's not ignorance. It's very alert without panic. And it can be even alert and teach yourself to settle the panic. It gets to be okay that you feel a trigger, feel your body's nervous system kicking on, going, whoa, 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 this looks like it's about to be a problem, and it looks like it's going to get worse if you continue to not do something about it. You get to teach yourself to soothe that and go, I am okay. Like, I am still going to get to eat tomorrow. I am still going to get to go to work tomorrow. I am still going to get to sleep in my own bed tomorrow. Like, it's going to be fine. And I don't have to do anything about this yet. Like, I am navigating it, even if it doesn't look like I am. And that, again, goes back to where you need not explain yourself to other people. So, in this discovering, like, this is oddly weird that I don't feel this burning urge to, like, quit my job and move to California, or blow off this relationship, pack up my stuff and move out tomorrow, or tell that toxic family member that I'm done tolerating this type of behavior and that I'm never going to speak to you again. You feel no need. Let me rephrase that. You may feel the need, and yet you decide, no, there is nothing to be done about it right now, but double down on who I am. Double down on, I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to rest. I'm going to let this play out. I'm going to just hold this person, hold this me in who I am, and let that be enough for now. Yeah, because sometimes in life, we can't fix it right now. We can't fix that relationship, or maybe a dynamic with a person, place, or thing or situation can't be fixed right in the moment, and you know that a harsh overreaction would make it worse, but yet maybe we don't have the solution right now, or maybe it's just clear that alignment isn't going to happen right this red hot second. Can I still be okay? Like, can I be okay in the fact that it's not going to get fixed right now, but I'm still okay? That is, yes, we all say that, and we all know that we can achieve that, and then it becomes this very deeper, nuanced level of peace, not just acceptance, but peace of, like, I'm still great, I'm still who I am, regardless. And so then I want to venture into this discovery that I've come about, which is where the universe is asking me a different question now. God is asking me to dig to this next layer deeper of, it's not, the question is no longer, will I choose me? The question is now, can I keep choosing me without controlling, without trying to manipulate and push everything else or everyone else around me? That's a much deeper question. Not in the fact that it's more important, it's just nuanced. The energy and the journey, my journey has pivoted to, yes, I know I'll choose myself. Yes, I know I've got my back. Yes, I know I trust the crap out of myself. Can I keep choosing? Can I keep trusting even in the midst of uncertainty and discomfort? Yeah. And that's a very steady, powerful place that not only anyone, but a divine feminine can be in. Although I reference divine feminine a lot in this journey because I resonate with a twin flame and a divine feminine journey, I feel like this is meant to be shared with others. This just happens to be the vehicle or the name my life gave to this lesson, this path that I chose. I chose this path to use it to be a teacher and to do impactful things. So again, it doesn't matter if you resonate with divine feminine twin flame or not. It can still be very relevant to you. And so moving on to giving you some comparisons of, like, what this pivoted question looks like of, can you keep choosing, which is settling versus stability. Like, the universe, God, is asking you in real time, can you discern what is settling, what is going back to an old belief system that says you're not worthy or you're not deserving, versus I'm okay. I'm okay right now no matter what, because of what's in there. So here's some examples. Settling says, I'll accept less because I don't deserve more. Stability says, I know what I deserve and I no longer need to chase it. I am inevitable. What is for me is inevitable. Settling feels smaller. Stability feels spacious. Settling feels constrictive or contracting. Stability is relaxing, not contracting. Settling ignores red flags, stuffs them down. Stability notices them and doesn't immediately make them mean something. Settling is from fear, stability is from trust. Yeah, so I thought those were really great comparisons of like, ooh, I can feel the difference in these two energetic um, base points, baselines, this energetic set point of who is this person, who is Lux. Is she energetically in a baseline state point of settling or in an energetic baseline of stability? Yeah. There is a nuanced difference, and it gets to be okay if you're navigating any and all parts of that spectrum. And so in this season that I'm in, or maybe you are in if you're watching this video, of real life discernment, day to day discernment of, am I settling or am I stabilizing? Settling or stabilizing? To me, the true test, as much as I don't love the word test, I don't mean for it to be a trigger point. I do believe in tests. I do believe God tests us, but I believe they are for us, not, we're not put up, it's not put up against us to fail. You know what I mean? A test is like a checkpoint to me, and almost, rather than think of it as a pass or fail kind of deal. So the checkpoint here, the God, the universe checkpoint to me is, it's not will I leave or will I stay? It's not will I choose me or will I settle? It's will I remain myself before reality catches up? Will I stay relishing in the woman that I am before reality catches up? Like, will I wobble because my bank account, my job, relationship, my family doesn't look like what this divine feminine knows she wants? Can I remain peaceful before my peace is validated by my partner, by my family members, by my job, by my bank account? Can I remain in peace because because I truly trust that my being is the attraction rather than my doing and chasing and scratching and clawing? That is the question right now. And again, if you're in this question of like, am I being hypersensitive in the name of healing, or am I truly discerning now where like stability is more important, inner stability is more important than getting quick results, getting results to show up? And by no means am I saying stuff down your desires and live in ignorance and just accept that you'll never really get what you want. I think I mentioned that at the beginning of this video, that never am I saying that you should just pretend like everything's okay. I'm saying that you can notice that everything is not okay, or some things are not okay, and yet you are still okay, and you do not have to be reactive and like put your fingers in it and fix it right now to continue to be okay. And so my last parts of this video is to leave you with a few discernment questions. I love these questions, whether you just want to ponder them or write them down, because they got me to dig a little deeper, or like start to use them as a hour by hour tool in my life of, this is stability, this is settling, this is stability, this is settling. And so I just want to offer these questions to you, which is, am I acting because I feel unsafe? I feel unsafe, or because I literally am unsafe? Like, obviously we have to make decisions that keep our human carcass existing in this lifetime. By no means am I saying sit still and wait and like sit yourself in a really bad spot. Like, no way, no how am I saying that you should sit there and wait like a dodo bird. Yeah, because you are not that. Whoever you are watching this video, you are not a dodo bird. Are you acting because the feeling is welling up of unsafety inside of you, or because you literally need to make a decision right now for your heart, your carcass right now? If I wasn't afraid or uncertain, or if I had no anxiety about this particular thing, would I still make this decision? That's a pretty powerful one. If I wasn't feeling this emotion, or if I was feeling absolutely neutral, would I still make this decision? Am I trying to control timing, or am I accepting and honoring timing? That's a huge one for me personally, because timing matters a lot to me. Time is of the essence to me, and I wish everything happened faster than it does, but it sure don't. And again, because that is one of the lessons I'm very much here to learn. I don't believe I'm going to get to be an instant manifester. And so, in my honoring and accepting that timing is what it is, and trusting in inevitability, that is the lesson. That is the strength in that for me. Is my body calm even though my mind wants something else? Or in other words, are my mind, body, and spirit feeling three different energetic things? Is my body, is my nervous system feeling triggers? Am I getting anxious, sweaty? Is my heart racing? But yet I know I'm fine. I'm in control of myself and in the situation. Like I know I'm okay. So knowing that, like, is my body in a different place than my spirit, than my soul? Is my ego in a different place than my spirit and my soul? My mind, like, is my intellectual processing like, is it going off the rails? Or is it like here right now in my body? That's a big one for me too. Like when I have physical body triggers like racing heart and dry mouth, things like that, where like, holy cow, it feels like I need to do something right now. But I don't, because I know, like, you know, Lux, how this works. You know that you need to just calm down a minute. Like, ride the wave. Ride the wave is what I tell myself. Then make a decision from neutrality. Um, Last question. This is the biggest question. If nothing changed this week, would I still like who I'm becoming? That has been one of the best confirmation questions for me, because I've gone through several weeks of that, of like, I'm not super comfortable in this situation. I'm not super comfortable with the progress that's kind of sort of happening and kind of sort of not happening. And I still love I'm still my favorite company, which sounds audacious. But if you are at a point where you can be like, my favorite person to spend time with is me, and I'm okay, even if nothing changes this week, that's a really powerful place to be. That's true stability and peace, in my opinion, of being happy with your own company and relishing in the deliciousness of who you are, even when things are less than optimal, you know? Whether it's like because you're becoming, you're like who this person you're stepping into, you like that you're holding these decisions. It's almost like a hit or a positive reinforcement of like, ooh, I see myself holding my ground in this situation, even amongst the chaos, and I like it, and it's sexy, and I am proud of myself for it, and I think it's incredible. That is super great motivational self fuel for your fire of like, look at me doing this. Like, look at me not hyper reacting. Look at me like turning back inward and going, wow, you're freaking amazing. Like, look at you doing this, instead of responding. That's a delicious place to be, and it's absolutely been the fuel to get me through the last couple weeks. So, in conclusion, the final insight of this episode, the whole point of this half-hour video, one of the longer ones I've done in a while, yeah, is that this is a very beautiful, rarely touched topic on the divine feminine journey, where she realizes peace is no longer dependent on getting what you want. Peace is a being, not a doing. She has become someone she wanted to be. She's already who she wants to be, or she's already knows who she needs to be to have the things she desires. And from that place, she's not settling. She's not chasing or forcing or clinging. She's simply standing and magnetizing and allowing life around her to recognize who she's become. Not in an audacious or prideful or egoic way, but in a very spiritual and energetic way of like, this is me now. This is me, and my field and the other things can attract or repel as needed, because she's good. She doesn't need to adjust or chameleon or waver to make changes. That's a super key distinction. And it's a lot harder than people think. You can talk the talk, but to walk that walk is a real time practice. It does take practice, but it's absolutely delicious. And if you're divine feminine stepping into that place where your being, your standing, and your magnetism and who you are is the attraction point, and is the separating the wheat from the chaff because of your lack of movement, because of your standing still and receiving. Oh, so proud of you. So I hope that you are making waves in the world of wherever you are from watching this, because that's a big deal. Yeah, it's a big deal to me. So this episode isn't was never about teaching you how to make a better decision. It was about asking you how to recognize who is making the decision, the decision, which version of yourself is choosing. Is it the old you creeping back in and choosing from fear or anxiety or uncertainty or unworthiness? Or are you going to stand in this version of you now? Are you going to stay here even when it doesn't look like it's working? Not because you're being ignorant, not because you need to do something, but because you deeply trust the results and the potency of who you are. Delicious kind of distinction. So when your decision comes from stability and peace like that, it carries a very strong, different energetic signature than fear and urgency does. And I truly believe that if a few more people in the world lived their lives from a place of stability and sovereignty instead of urgency, we can change the world. We can make waves in the world. Yeah. Not just via the choices, but because you understand the source of the choice. So that was my delicious rant on the season between boundaries and surrender. And I hope it was very potent for you. And I hope it gave you some reason to get very thoughtful with yourself about where you are and what you're choosing, or someone you love and care about. If someone you love and care about looks like they're struggling with this, maybe something deeper is going on. And maybe your understanding of that or sharing this insight with them can be one of the best things you can do for someone. I am still always looking for people to coach, people to work with in a one-on-one setting of how do we integrate these pieces of you so that you can remember and incorporate and be the most powerful, joyful, potent version of you living this life that you can be. It's what I'm passionate about. It's what I can talk about all day, every day. So if you are interested in connecting with me, please check out the links to my business email, and leave a comment on the video of if you liked it, what you got out of it. And if you'd like to connect with me, or you know someone who might like to connect with me in this integration one-on-one coaching style of like, how do we crack open and discover all of you? Because to me, that is so juicy and is one of my favorite things to do in this life. So thank you for your time today in this video. Keep seeking, keep softening, keep showing up. Remember, the light you're looking for is the light you already are. Take care.